Good afternoon, everyone. I'm from Chinese Academic of Sciences, and today I'll present our work Revery from proof of concept to exploitable. This work is a joint work with Tsinghua University, the team of Professor Zhang Chao. So let's talk about the motivation. So if you are a researcher, you find the vulnerability to some product and want to submit to the vendor. Sometimes you will express like you provide a proof to the vendor, and then you wrote the email say, "Hey guys, I find a really severe vulnerability of your product, and please fix it as soon as possible." But some days maybe you will receive a response. They say, "Thank you for your submission, but we think it's just a non-exploitable bug, no big sense, and maybe we will fix it in the next version." So it's out of your expectation. So you may think, "Are you kidding?" And this is very, very severe, and you blah blah blah, and then blah blah blah. So the argument will continue. To end the argument, the primitive way is to provide a working exploit. So, but writing an exploit is expensive, because it may take days or even weeks to write an exploit, and the people who can write the exploit is also expensive. So recently, that CTFs. So how many people know CTF? Okay, it means I come to the right place. Yes. So we have one team. It's called Never Stop Exploiting. So how many of you have heard this name? Okay, thank you. Great. Yes. The first author of this paper, Wang Yan, is the captain of NESE, but she did not get the visa, so I'll present this work. Also, this work is we can say this work is a joint work of NESE and Blue Lotus. Blue Lotus is another CTF team in China. So while we train more and more people, but we find the game is changing. I give you the statistic of CV reported in recent years. We can see in 2017 there is a burst. Yeah, you can see a burst. So it's even double the number of the last year. So and I bet in this year, in 2018, this number will exceed 15,000. So due to the success of the vulnerability discovery solutions, the people cannot keep up with the development of the vulnerability. So the assessment of the vulnerability is emergent. So if you are a vendor, you need to figure out very quickly to figure out which vulnerability should you fix first, right? But if you do not have enough people to do these things, we think it's time to involve machine to get this job done. So let's talk about the challenge of writing exploit. For a human, writing an exploit is much like someone says it's much like an art, not a technique. So first you should locate the real vulnerable point, because if you use a fuzz, you can get a crash. A crash point is not the vulnerable point. You need to trace back to find the real vulnerable point, and then you need to create a right program state, because if the state is not right, even you can get here, you cannot exploit. And third, you should calculate the precise inputs that can not only trigger the vulnerability, but also avoid a crash. Yeah. Successful exploit must avoid the crash. So if we use the machine to do these things, machine is we can say not as smart as people, so they get a longer way. So it will exploit find the exploited derivability. I will explain it later. And the symbolic we use in program analysis has its own has a we know execution bottleneck. And third, for the heap-based vulnerability, it's really hard for the machine to exploit. So what is the exploited derivability? We begin with a weird machine. So weird means once memory corruption vulnerabilities are triggered, the victim's program state machine turns into a weird state. It's rather hard to understand. I'll give an example. In the movie X-Men, that professor, he can control other people's mind. Yeah, okay. But if somebody is controlled by the professor, his body has no change. So, but something must be different from the original one. Yeah? Yet, I think if we can explain it in a scientific way, the difference exists in his brain. So, to a physicist, brain just a mass of circuit. So, so if you change the circuit of the brain, so it changes his mind. Yeah. So for the program is just the circuit. Derived path is another path that did not exist originally. So we can base the POC to find if we can find another diverging path, and maybe we can exploit. So the possibility to find a diverging path is called exploit derivability. Okay. I hope I explained this right. It's clearly. Here comes our overview of the Revery. It's mainly divided into three parts, or can say 3 steps. The first step is the vulnerability analysis. We should analyze the vulnerability and find the exceptional object. I will explain that. And the second, we will diverging the path explosion to find the diverging path that can exploit, and we use the fuzzing technique to achieve this. Third, and is exploited synthesis to stitching POC path and diverging path. It's very tricky. I will explain later. And finally, we will resolve the constraints and generate exploit. So here I'll give an example to address a problem. In this example, the line 15 is the hijack point. If we can go here, we can hijack the control flow. It means we can successfully exploit it. And the vulnerability point is line 10. But when we get the POC just goes to line 12. Here is a crash point. For humans, it is very simple. So if we avoid go to the change the object to the status and avoid the line 12. So we can get the line 14 and here's a chance to write the pointer. So we can hijack the pointer. But for the machine, it's not so simple. So first one, the cache path taken by the POC goes to the line 12. From line 12 to the line 15 is not reachable. And second, from the intuition, we should backtrace the POC path and looking for the diverging path and find the exploitable status and trigger the vulnerability and exploit. But it is rather hard. First, we should locate the vulnerabilities. We use memory tagging techniques. So if while the program is executing, each heap object is we will give it a tag. The tag included a status. The status include an initialized, busy, or free. One of the three status. And also, there are taint label, just like a number. And so, while executing, if the program violates one of the three rules, we can say rules, we will find a violation. So the first rule is an instruction should only access the intended object. It's a if he want to access the tag 5, taint label is 5. Then if you access exceeded the tag 5, for example, access the tag 6, so we will find a violation. And second, the load instruction should not access freed or uninitialized memory. And third, the store instruction should not access free memory. In the example, as a line 10, the operation access the object 1's data. Object 1's data is tag 1, but if its overflow is right to the object 2, right? So it's not the intended tag. So we will find this is a violation. Second, we will get layout analysis. It's important for the fuzzing. The layout analysis is focused on the exceptional object. The exceptional object is is the object that tempered by the vulnerability. So we will identify the exceptional object and construct the layout diagram. The diagram not only contains the relationship between the memories, also contains the instructions to cause this relationship. After that, we will use the fuzzing to explore diverging path. It's called layout-oriented fuzzing. We modified the AFL to achieve these goals and use the memory layout contributor to as the contributor instructions as the target. That's the last step. We construct the contributor layout contributor graphs, and after that we will filter the paths we get. First, we will find paths that have sensitive operations that operate on those exceptional objects, and these paths are likely to produce exceptional status. So next, we will explain the result of the diverging path exploring. If you are lucky, maybe you can use fuzz. Just use fuzz, you will get a input that can not only trigger the vulnerability but also go to the exploitable point. So it means that you get the final result. You just use fuzzing. It's important. It's possible, but not acceptable. Expectable, because in most cases you just get a path that the layout contributor of the exceptional object matches the one in the crashing point, just like a crash path, just like this one. The path is line 9, line 11, line 13, and 14. Do not pass line 10 and line 15. So, so here we need another technique. We call it path stitching. Now, path stitching is just like a surgery to replace part of your legs. And if you have read Pinocchio, okay, after his Pinocchio's legs was burned, his father made a pair of new legs for him and placed a new leg on his body. Yeah. So stitching the path just like replace a new leg for Pinocchio. And we can see the lower part of the crashing path we cannot use it. The lower part we cannot use it. So we'll cut it and replace with the diverging path. Stitch the path. We need to go first identify the stitching point in the crashing path. Violation point is a candidate stitching patch. Maybe there are more, so we will try each. And the second is identify the stitching point in diverging path. Is more tricky. It's just focus on the layout contributor diagram and find if it is a subgraph of the crashing path. Yes, crashing path. And finally, we will exploit the candidate subpath to connect the two paths. The criteria for good staging points, there are three criterions. First one is not too close to entry point. It means not too early. Second is not too close to exploitable point. It means not too late. And the third is minimum the data dependency. Is take it simple. So finally, we need to generate exploit. It just calculates the constraints of subpath. So if the constraints of the subpath are resolvable, so a candidate exploitation path is constructed, but it's not enough. It needs the status. The exploit status constraints we also need to resolve. The memory allocation size of the in the exploitation path should be the same as the diverging path, and also the symbolic address should get the same concrete value. Here gives evaluation, and we evaluated a variable with 19 CTF challenges, and we generated 9 exploits for them. And also there are 5 we can generate the exploitable status, but cannot hijack the control flow. Here's the result. And also we evaluate the efficiency of layout-oriented fuzzing compared to AFL is faster, and the efficiency of layout-oriented fuzzing also to AFL is faster, and the efficiency of control flow stitching compared with another symbolic executor syntax. Okay. The limitation of our work is the symbolic execution engine does not stop. We use Anger. Anger does not support library functions, so we just evaluate the Revery with CTF challenge, not real world programs. This is the reason. And the second, the capability of Revery is I think is very far from human beings. I think we will need more effort to improve it. So in the future, we will replace the. Now I'm actually we have replaced the symbolic execution engine with S2E, and another research work on the state exploring, because this work, the status we just resolve the very small part of the heap. That's more wide status we need to explore. This work is ongoing, so I'm looking for cooperators. Okay. Yeah. To conclude, we present the Revery, a practical automatic exploit generator, and it can not only exploit the path, but also the exploitable states, and it could generate heap-based vulnerabilities. So thank you. I would like to take some questions.
All right, let's take the speaker. Do you have time? Do we have a time? Yeah. Okay. So thanks a lot. Great work. So yeah, I'm very interested in your work, and then want to ask you, where can I get this tool? You have any plan to open source it?
It's on schedule, but not yet. Yeah.
I will look forward to seeing.
Actually, this is a big project, and I have about 20 students, and half of them is on this project. Okay, so I have enough students, but maybe I need some.
Then you may not need more helps. Maybe you may already have enough hands.
Yes, I need more help. Yes, yeah. Thank you.
So can you maybe summarize, based on your experience, what are the big challenges for automatic exploit generation?
I think it's full of challenges. Yes, and for example, today we just focus on the memory corruption vulnerabilities, and there are more kind of vulnerabilities, and such as logical. I have no idea how we can exploit it automatically. Yeah.
All right. Let's thank the speaker.